Fellas, welcome to the Prime Dude. Rob Edwards, your host, and I'm sick of shoe hype. What is shoe hype? It's everything we see on YouTube about all these fancy brands that are apparently good value when, I'm sorry, most of these YouTubers are being paid. I've endorsed them before, but I'm not today because I've come across a couple brands, and today I'm going to start off with Carlos Santos. I ordered a pair based on reviews that I saw. It's an excellent shoe. It seems like it at first glance. But what you don't know is that people who are telling you how great it is are not actually wearing it. They're not actually going through the purchase process, and they're not going through the sizing in what is a painful return process. All right, let's talk about what I ordered. So I went for a Chukka, right? I ordered this Charlie 7991, and the website's okay. The pictures are fine, but it moves slow, and under product details, they don't even bother to tell you what last it is. And then if you go to the last guide, I'll put a quick shot of that up there. There's nothing there. And you have to actually look it up in a Google search, however you search, and figure it out yourself to find that there is absolutely no last guide. They don't even bother. They're too good for us. So they name all their colors, right, in Portuguese. This one's the Bosco. You have to figure it out, look it up. That's fine. But then to know it's olive is important, and don't look on your phone. You need a good screen or this looks dark brown. But you go through the ordering process, and this says 386 euros right now, but with shipping it was 413. That translates to $470 US. So it's not a cheap pair of Chukka boots. Now, I'm all about quality and value. So I expected it because this has been reviewed really well. And I'm not saying I was disappointed in the shoe. We're going to take a look at it now some more. The patina's great. The leather feels fine. It's a little instrumental or almost toyish, but I've read about where they source and what tanneries they use. I think it's fine. I think it would have broken in nicely. But damn it, they're too big. And unfortunately, I didn't realize that Noble Shoe was nice enough a couple years ago to come out with a Carlos Santos last guide because Carlos Santos can't be bothered. So thanks, guys, for doing that, Noble Shoe, because after ordering, I went to this website and I scrolled down to look at the lasts. Now, it's not like Carlos Santos makes it easy for you. Again, under product details, they don't mention it. And then right here, if you know to look, you can see the number 401. Now, I deduced that obviously this is a model number, 7991, with a style specifically for a Chukka boot, but there is a 401 last. So if we go over to Noble Shoe and take a look, their article was nice enough in number order to detail the lasts and the styles and how you should size. And in this particular article by Noble Shoe, they use 8 standard width, right? Which I believe is an F fit. I mean, again, Carlos Santos doesn't bother, right? They're showing us just the size, right? But it's a standard width unless you, I think, customize. So they base this article in Noble Shoe on a size 8, and then they go through each last to tell you how you should order. Clearly, had I known, then I wouldn't have ordered my standard UK 9.5, and I would have gone a half size down, which is what Noble Shoe recommends for a Carlos Santos 401 last. So I've got a pair of shoes now that I need to return. They're just too big, and I've tried to fit them. I've tried to use even an insert. They're just a little bit too big in the toe, even for this particular design, which is, a little bit, there's a little more point to the toe. So naturally, I expect a half inch, maybe even up to an inch of room, but my foot was sliding too much, and there's just too much room in the toe of the shoe for me to be comfortable. So I email Noble Shoe. I email Carlos Santos. And I asked him, hey guys, before I reorder and go through return, can I send you a foot diagram that I've already done? Because the other shoemakers that seem to care, like Bridlin, like TLB Mallorca, and Yearn Shoemaker, they have asked me for that, and they have now shoe orders for me that are based on the exact measurement of my foot based on their directions in centimeters. Carlos Santos just basically emailed me, yeah, you can return, we'll inspect it, and here's the address. Guys, it's Portugal. So that address isn't a hop, skip, and a jump for me in the southern United States. So now I go to FedEx, and luckily, and by the way, don't go to the website and get a quote for a shipment from your house, because to ship a 5-6 pound pair of shoes in a medium-sized box to Portugal, you're out $350 plus. That's right, almost the cost of the shoes. There was no return label. There was no instructions. There was no option. They don't care. And if you look at their return policy, it reads like a legal dossier. It's scary. It's arbitration. They basically tell you, hey, if we want to, we can just keep the shoes and screw you. Because I guarantee you guys, if you send the shoe back and they see anything up with it or something that was already there, then they're going to keep them. They're not paying the fees to ship them back to you, and you're out. And oh, by the way, you have to use FedEx or UPS or DHL. You can't use our glorious U.S. Postal Service because they don't care once it leaves the United States borders. That's right, the U.S. Postal Service cannot track these packages once they leave the U.S. So it will be significantly less money, probably $70, $80 less, because I did get a quote from a local FedEx store, an independent one, of $140. But then I got to pay $140 now to get my refund off of $470. So that's a big eat, right? And if they'd have just maybe added a couple notes on sizing and didn't make me search like Indiana Jones for a blog from a private blogger and a shoe company like Noble Shoe, thank you guys, I would have known. And of course, I should have done more research, I guess, but I'm pretty standard UK 9.5. And these guys don't even bother to have a last guide. So I'll continue with a real quick review of how the shoes look. First of all, I love the color. I love the soles. Everything is really nice. It's open channel, but it's really well done. The leather's pretty supple. I do think this is the kind of patina that you don't want to use like Saphir Renovator, and they say that on Noble Shoe. Also would be nice if our friends from Carlos Santos would involve that or include that, because from what I've read, the Renovator Cream, which is fantastic for leather shoes, could affect this patina, and that's the case with some of these more artistic patinas for any other brand. Be careful when you watch the artistic shoe review guys and when they rave about this brand, because they're not paying for the shoes, they're not dealing with any of the shipping issues, and if they had to return or they have a sizing issue, they're certainly not going to have to cover it out of pocket to the tune of $140. Now, I do want to bring a solution because I did like the shoe. I think the lacing system's gorgeous. I think everything about it is pretty in a good way, and I'm surprised how much I love the Bosco color, which is an olive green patina. But you can get these same shoes for the same price, same amount of time if they're not ready-made. Some of them are, some of them aren't. If it's made to order or if they don't have this particular color, then it's going to take 3 to 5 weeks. And that's Herring shoes, right? So let's take a look at Herring and go through really quick what the website looks like. And I'll tell you right now, I just ordered a pair of Carlos Santos loafers, and they're going to send me for an extra $19 a DHL return slip. So Carlos Santos, let's think about that. Maybe give that a try if you want us going direct to the website. But if you're watching this and you're considering Carlos Santos shoes, use Herring. All right, so here's the Herring website. Herring is a famous retailer of dress shoes, European dress shoes, and you can see they've got all kinds of brands here. Now, I've had a great experience with Loke, Barker, their websites. Carlos Santos, you obviously know how I feel. But Herring carries a pretty substantial inventory of Carlos Santos shoes. And look, they're gorgeous. And I think they're well made. Again, I'm not going to say that based on handling with my hands one pair of chukka boots. I'm going to walk in a pair when I get them in the right size, even though it's going to cost me an extra $140 to return. But I digress. Here's the 7991s. I should have ordered them from these guys, because had I gotten the size I did, 9.5, and learned that, hey, they're too big, I would have gone with the UK 9. But these might actually be ready available. This is Guimaraes. No idea what color that is. But this is clearly a partnership with Carlos Santos. And look, it's $419 including delivery. So it's the same price, right? That's basically what I paid. It's like $417, $419, depending on the exchange rate at the time. So you can go to Herring and get these shoes and know that when you go through the process, they will send you a DHL reliable return slip for $19. So if it's your first pair and you've researched the last and it says maybe go a half size down, spend the extra $19 because I'm telling you, you're out $150 if you got to go out of pocket to ship these back to Portugal. So to my shoe guys out there that unbox and know so much about shoes, I've learned from them. I've done my research too, and I can break down an Oxford as good as any of them. Take it easy on telling us how great these websites are and these companies are until you've actually gone through the process and ordered and had to return and deal with sizing issues like we have. I don't want to end on a bad note or a negative note, and I'm going to give Carlos Santos another chance, and hopefully this reaches them. I'm also going to write a blog about it. I'm going to say great things about what I felt and saw in the Bosco, was it 7991 Chuck-A-Boot. But there are better companies that I've already experienced. I've got a video out already on my TLB Mallorca Artista 106. The Artista line is fantastic. These shoes are less money than Carlos Santos. The shipping was fantastic. It took about 8 days, but they actually emailed me and got my size right on the first one. They cared enough to look at my measurements and had constant communication to make sure that I got a great product and made me feel hassle-free that I could return it without any issues. Bridlin so far has done the same, and so has Yearn Shoemaker, but I haven't received the shoes yet. And say what you want about Alan Edmonds, and I've been hard on him, and I will continue to be, but they make returns really easy, right? You have an issue, and they tend to have some issues in quality right now, but when you nail it, you nail it. I do think they're a bit overpriced, but again, sale in April, sale in October, I think you get good value in some of their iconic shoes. But at least they make it easy to return, right? At least I can go on a couple clicks, print out my return label, box them up, and on I go. And the refund's there 7 days later. So Carlos Santos needs to work on this. From what I gather, I'm not the only one that's pointed this out. I think it's a consistent issue. And Use Herring Shoes or any other retailers, I mean, please put in the comments if there are anyone else out there that carries these brands that have, their shit together when it comes to returns and helping us with sizing. I mean, this is the first time I've had to go looking to a third-party website to find last information on an independent shoe company. That's it for the show, guys. Forgot to ask already. I've been meaning to do this in the beginning, but if you made it this far, please like, subscribe, put on the alerts. I'm here to do what I just did today, and I'm going to make it clear just about every show that I'm doing these reviews out of pocket. I'm making my own investment, and I'm not just unboxing and handling with my hands and taking pictures. I'm putting these shoes and boots on. I'm walking in them. I'm putting them to the test, and then I'm coming back to let you know if they broke in well, how they held up, and then months later, I'm going to keep you posted on where things go. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Always appreciate the support. Let me know what you think. If you've had a better experience with Carlos Santos, drop it in the comments. I'll link the shoes I ordered in the description to give them a chance again, and I'll follow up with you when I get the loafers I ordered from Herring, which are made by Carlos Santos. Take care and always stay prime.